In a time where society is suffering from what many call the effects of a fatherless generation, we need a place where men can receive godly wisdom and guidance so they can take their rightful place as the leaders of their community. A place where men freely discuss men's issues from a biblical perspective. Because the world won't get better until we do.
As men, we don't commit for a few reasons. One, because we don't want to. Number two, because we don't have to. Or three, because we're afraid to.
Okay. We don't want to, we don't have to, and we're afraid to.
Join Pastor Tuck and Brother Corey in the Man Cave. And be challenged to be a better husband, father, or simply the man that God called you to be. Get ready for the Man Cave on the all-new My Church channel.
Good evening. I'm Pastor Tuck, and welcome to the Man Cave, the place where we help men get better, become better husbands, better fathers, better sons, better brothers, by just teaching them how to apply the Word of God to their lives and providing a genuine environment of transparency and support so that they can learn and grow. And so I want to encourage you to invite every brother you know to check us out every second Thursday at 7:30 p.m. here on the My Church channel, available on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Google TV, on your Apple and your Android phones, even on our website. But I'm telling you, this is a place that you want to be if you're a man or you know somebody who's a man, because I'm telling you, man, we deal with men issues. And tonight, boy, we got a hot one. Boy, we getting ready to get it on tonight. I'm telling you, man, I'm excited about this topic because this is something that has been, it kind of gets in my craw. You know, I know we're in this technology age, this social media age, where everything you see is about, you know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, you know, all of this stuff is out here now. And this is a world we live in. Everybody's walking around, you know, they got their phones in their hands. I know generations have now grown up in front of these 6-inch screens. And, you know, and I don't want to be the old man on the lawn, you know, get off my lawn. That I don't want to be that guy, because I am a technology guy. You know, you see, we're a virtual ministry. We're on all of these different platforms. And trust me, I embrace technology. But some things in our society, I believe, have gone too far. And I think that's the point where we are, especially when it comes to being a man, because some things just need to stay the way they are. Some things don't change. You know, I know we're in a society where people talk, times are different, things are different. But one thing about manhood has always been and always will be the same. I don't care what people keep trying to redefine this thing and keep trying to make it something different, but manhood is manhood. And that's why we're here in the Man Cave, because we're trying to help. Sometimes people are growing up in these places where they have not had the proper examples. They've not seen what real manhood looks like. And so we're trying to help in that environment. And so tonight, like I said, we got a real hot topic tonight. And so even before I get in a little further, I want to bring my spiritual son, Brother Corey, into the room so we can kind of start chopping this thing up, because I'm telling you, this is a hot one we got going on tonight. Brother Corey.
Yo, let's go. Let's go. Yo, I'm hyped for this one right here.
We've been talking at the bit about this one.
Come on now. Like, this is a conversation that I think must happen. I think this new generation, I can't even say this is even the generation I come from. This is not millennials. This is, what is it, Generation Z?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think we'd run out of alphabet right now. This some new stuff right here.
This is a whole new cat right here.
Yeah. This a whole new. You might be the old man on the lawn when it comes to this one. I'm just like, man, this right here, this some new stuff, because it looked like men have they made from something different nowadays. And I mean, and they can see the title at the bottom of the screen. The show we talk about tonight, enough is enough. I mean, it comes to a point in time where we literally got to say enough is enough. And so, and to kind of give you a little background where this is coming from, you know, I was scrolling, you know, on social media, on Instagram, and I ran across this reel. Of a guy that I know. And when I saw it, I was like, hey, that's my man right here. What are you talking about? And he's kind of going off. You know, he's ranting. I mean, he's losing it. And I'll give you forewarning, we in the man cave. So if you got your small kids in the room, your little boys in the room, you might want to send them out. Ladies, if you watching and you got a sensitive ears, you might want to leave, because I mean, he uses a little language, but we all grown. You know, I know this is a Christian channel, I know this is a spiritual channel, but if you that spiritual, I think you might want to leave the room too, because and let's be real, we know we hear more than this on the 6 o'clock news and on every other show you watch. So let's stop playing about that. But you know, the brother was emotional.
Unless it's said like this.
Yeah. Some of these things, you know, and when I called the brother and talked about it, the first thing he wanted to do was apologize to me for the language. I'm like, bruh, I can't blame you for that, because the moment almost called for that kind of language. When and you'll understand what I'm saying when you see the video. But this brother, man, I'm telling you, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him when I bring him to the screen. But this video, it just shocked me when he was talking about what he was talking about, what he had just witnessed and what he had just experienced. And it just goes to say exactly what we're talking about here. Enough is enough. Manhood we have got to call manhood to the carpet. And so let's go ahead and bring this video up, Corey, and so we can kind of tease this thing up, let people kind of understand what we're talking about.
All right, listen. I don't normally push shit like out this, but I'm upset right now, and excuse my language in advance. I'm sitting at the light. Got a car in front of me. Got a car on the side of me and a car in front of him. This homeless guy, he's going around asking people for money. He already looked a little aggressive, but he's asking people for money. Obviously, nobody's helping him, so he's looking a little frustrated or flustered. I see this young lady with her baby in a stroller at the corner, standing at the corner, waiting to cross over. He walks over to her. So I'm watching him as he walk over to her. Obviously, he asked her, can she have some money? You can see her looking at him a little startled, and she shakes her head no. So obviously, she's telling him, no, I don't have any money. This clown-ass mother, he smacks this lady. She falls to the ground. He pushes her stroller. He's trying to snatch her purse. Now, I'm getting out of my truck and go to try to help her. These two dudes that in the car, I see them jump out. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go over there. We're going to help this lady. We're going to smash this nigga. These two niggas jump out of their car and pull out their phone to record. What the fuck is going on? I run through them, punch the dude in his face, push them off of her. He rolls back. Other people get out their car. Other fellas come out their car. They all run. I'm grabbing her, making sure that she's okay. Trying to console this woman, asking if she's okay. But I'm furious at the fact that these two sucker-ass niggas gonna pull out their phones to record instead of help her. They thought it was more important to pull out their phone to record instead of helping this woman. This is what's wrong with the world. Everybody wants to record shit and get likes and go viral. But if that was their mother, if that was their wife, their girlfriend, their sister, their child, anybody, they would have wished someone that went out there and helped them. But yet, this is why our women, some of our women out here don't feel safe, don't feel like we love them enough. And this is why they want to act so aggressive. This is why they're not friendly. Because we're not out here protecting our queens. They're walking past us, clenching their purses.
Man.
My.
I'm telling you, this when I saw this video, I mean, I was up to here. Mm-hmm. Because as a father and a husband, I'm a father. I have 2 daughters. And I was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And to give you some context, because I know some of y'all still stuck on the language, but I'm like, as you can see, this situation, this was necessary. This was totally justified. Because, and if you one of those people who would have grabbed your phone, yeah, he talking about you too. And you know,
and we about to talk about you some more.
Yeah, and we about to talk about you some more. So you might want to tune off because
no, stay right there.
Yeah. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Pull your phone off. Catch this.
You know, and I had to reach out to him and call him because, and I'll tell you who this young man is in my life. 11 years ago to today, I was with this young man because he was one of my daughter's mentors. For some of you who know, my oldest daughter, Kaya, had aspirations of being in the fashion industry. She wanted to do fashion, you know, from a young kid. I mean, from like 4 years old, Kaya always talked about doing fashion. And so, you know, she wanted to do design and fashion. And I remember meeting him some years ago, like I said, about 11, 12 years ago. I met him. I was coming from a men's conference and I was walking through National Harbor in D.C. and I saw a suit shop. And walked in, it was Taylor suit shop. And I walked in and it was his shop. And he was a fashion designer. He makes tailored clothes. And so I went in and I was talking to him and looking at his stuff. I was like, man, this stuff is amazing. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, I do all my own stuff. You know, I tailor everything. You know, I come in, he said, you want something? I'll draw it up for you. I'll make it for you. I was like, really? And I was like, that sounds like stuff that my daughter be interested. He said, tell you what, he said, Pastor, he said, next time you're in the area, bring her up here. He said, I'll spend some time with her. He said, and, you know, talk to her, see if she's really interested or not. And so a couple of weeks later, we happened to be in the area on spring break. And I brought her up and he sat there and she pulled out some paper. He pulled out a piece of paper and got her to draw something. And, you know, he talked to her about it. He told her, he said, look, I'm getting ready to open another store down in Georgetown. And he said, when I get everything set up, get your dad to bring you up here and I'm going to get you to come work with me. And I brought her up there. And like I said, 11 years ago to the day, I brought her up there and he kept his word and she worked with him. I mean, doing a major launch of one of his product lines. And I mean, she worked with him all day at a photo shoot, you know, had got to see everything from top to bottom in the fashion industry with him. And I mean, and he mentored her for years. And I mean, it's still good. He became a family friend. Like you said, we tight. And so when I saw this, I'm like, I know this man's heart. He ain't just out here just going off. He ain't just flipping. This is serious. And it's personal for me because that could have very well been one of my daughters. Yeah. You know, and so when I said, man, me and Corey were gonna get on here and gonna talk about this. I said, but now we ain't gonna just talk about this. We want to bring this brother to the state. And I need y'all to understand the caliber of person is here. This guy is one of the first black couture designers to have his designs featured in Saks Fifth Avenue. This guy has designed for just about any celebrity you can name. I mean, Rihanna, Keisha Cole, Beyonce, I mean, Trey Songz, I mean, all kinds of athletes. I mean, everybody. I mean, this guy, he's out here in the world on a regular basis, working, styling, and designing for celebrities all day long. And he sees a lady at the light being accosted by somebody. He jumps out and does something about it. That's what you call a man right there. And so without further ado, I mean, I'm not going to keep talking about it. I'm going to bring him in so y'all, we can talk to him. And so I'm excited, man, tonight to bring my man, Brother Kenny Kas Flannagan, to the screen.
Hey,
Brother Kas, welcome to the Man Cave, baby.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
What's up?
Man, hey, Pastor, I know you don't want me to apologize, but I got to, man. I'm sitting here watching y'all play that video, and I'm like, oh, Lord, but I was really on a whole nother, man.
Yeah, I was right there with
so
you.
many people that have watched that video and saw me on the street, from older men, younger dudes, especially women hugging me, thanking for me to help that young lady because he's like, that could have been me. And I'm glad that there's still some men out here that feel the way that you do. So I appreciate this opportunity and this platform for you to be on here to discuss this, because we got to start somewhere, man. That was sickening to watch.
Yeah, man, and you know, and it's crazy because this mentality that every time something happens, you just want to pull out your phone and post it because the world has you've gotten to the point where you need validation from the world to the point that you're willing to do anything for likes and clicks and views.
Absolutely.
Has gotten out of
industry,
hand.
especially in the industry that I'm in.
Yes.
People go through the extreme to get likes, to get people, and the bottom line is, I always tell people, why are you running your life around a like when someone probably really don't like you? They just want to see what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know, I have this motto that I teach, and I always tell the kids, I always tell grown-ups, stop rushing to be known and take your time to be remembered.
Say that. Say that. Say that. Say that again. You know? Say that again, bro. Say that again.
Stop rushing to be known and take your time to be remembered. Like, it's very important because social media has us so gun-ho of we got to hurry up and put it out, hurry up and put it out. But once you put it out, you can't get it back.
Yeah.
But if you take your time, learn the life lessons, learn your craft, understand who you are as a person, you will be remembered for a lifetime. And also, too, we got to stop wasting our words on people that only deserve our silence.
Cash dropping gems already. Y'all better listen. Y'all better listen to what he just said. You know, I told one of my daughters the other day, I said I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says you can't help everybody. Said because no matter how much you pour out, some cups just got holes in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some folks got holes in their buckets.
Yeah. We have to recognize that.
Right.
We have to recognize that. And it's one of those things that you good. And we don't recognize that, that's a problem. Because we'll spend more time and energy trying to impress people. The Bible puts it this way: don't cast your pearls before swine. You can't keep wasting your time, your energy, your effort for people who don't appreciate what it is that you bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And absolutely. And we keep doing that. And we're in a season, man, that the Bible says this, that we're in a time where men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, you know, disrespectful. I mean, it talks about all of this. So none of this is a surprise to God. But as men, the Bible says when the enemy comes in, he said, like a flood, God will raise up a standard. And for so long, I've heard people read that, and they put the punctuation in the wrong place. They said, well, the enemy comes in like a flood, God will raise up a standard. But they don't understand. It says when the enemy comes in like a flood, God will raise up a standard. God's going to raise up a standard like a flood. Like a flood raises, like the waters in the flood raises the level, that's how God raises a standard. And as men, we're supposed to be the standard. So we've got to stop sinking to the level of the rest of the world. As men, it starts with us. That's why I said at the beginning, I said, until we get better, the world's not going to get better. Yeah. And so that's why this is such an important thing, because we can't be just like everybody else walking around going, man, I hope they like this. I hope they like it. We cannot be like that. We ought to be the ones that are setting the standards. And, you know, it's funny because you're in the fashion industry, because I think a lot of this sets in that industry. And I know being in that industry, you know, what you see around you a lot are men and women, but especially men that are not actually men. You know, and I'm not trying to get you to say anything disparaging, but about any of your colleagues, but you know what I'm saying, that men that are not walking as men.
That's right.
And
hey, listen,
and they're the ones that are setting fashion trends, and we walking around wearing women's clothes.
Yep. Man, let me tell you something. I don't get certain jobs because I'm not gay and I'm not a gay man. You know, and get it. I have gay friends. They're great friends of mine. That's just not me.
Yeah.
That's not who I am. And I've had jobs turned down. I've had television gigs turned down. I know men that has a whole family and they'll go to work acting gay so that they can get the job.
Wow.
I'm not doing that.
No.
Wow.
I'm not doing that.
Ain't built like that.
No, I'm not built like that. I've had millions of dollars that people wanted to invest in me, and it didn't go down because they wanted to sleep with me.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
And I mean, this has happened several times. I'm not talking about no little 1 million. I'm talking about 3 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, that they was like, we love your clothes. We want to invest in you. We want to take this brand to a global brand. And my name is on the check, 30 million, 50 million, 20 million, sitting right there. They want to celebrate. I had a situation where two guys had went in the room, came out butt naked. My first instinct was to swing on them.
I know that's right.
I was ready to swing on them. And my manager had heard me yelling, and he came in and banged on the door, and I was like, these dudes is naked. They want me to sleep with them. I'm not having nobody put a carrot over my head for no money. I would
Wow.
rather be out here grinding, working hard, trusting in God, and just getting it that way, so that my kids, so that guys and women who look up to me and be like, you know what? He didn't sell himself out.
Right.
But I will tell y'all this, because of that situation, they blackballed me. Well, at least they tried to. They had took one of my awards back, blackballed me. Saks Fifth Avenue didn't pick me back up, but I stayed fruitful. I stayed focused. I trusted God. God told me to be silent. He said, stop rushing to be known. Take your time to be remembered. Be silent. Focus on your craft. And I promise you, I'll bring you back and you'll be better than ever. And it's just been a blessing after a blessing. I've been doing back-to-back movies. Well, we're on strike right now, so it's been kind of slow. So I'm going to need a little prayer, Pastor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we got you. We got you,
It's
baby.
been slow, but other than that, I've still been able to dress celebrities, help them with tours. I've had clients, weddings, and things like that. I just hired a new CEO, so now I can just focus on the styling, the creativity of it. So I always look at it, when something happens, God is preparing you for something better so that you can get through it.
Man. And see, and all of what we're talking about is the fact of maintaining your integrity, maintaining your standards, because, you know, we're looking at, like you said, this behavior, this guy in this video, we're like, dude, and then these guys are coming out here because instead of you doing what you should as a man and stand up and to protect somebody who's vulnerable, the things that the Bible tells us to do, you know, protect the widows and the orphans. I mean, to do those things, to, you know, to stand in those positions as what we're supposed to do as men. You out here recording something so that you can post it, so that somebody else can validate you and say that you're important. And it's like, bro, how broken
Just
are you?
another way. And then, which I don't know is, when we helped the lady and picked up the baby, got her situated, I went over to the dudes and I was ready to go in on them. We was ready to like straight up fight in the middle of the street, because
Yeah.
I zoned out. I'm like, what if that was your sister? What was that was your mother?
Yeah.
What was that was your girlfriend or your child? Like, would you want somebody? And they was like, oh man, we just was trying to get the footage. We was gonna help. When were you gonna help? When the guy took the purse, ran off, or beat her up, and the
Or when the
baby
baby
is
laid
sitting
on
there
the ground
ground?
bleeding?
Like your thought process, brother. You're not thinking. And this is no slight to a lot of single mothers. So please don't take this the wrong way. Listen to what I'm about to say. Women are not prepared to raise men to be men. They are preparing them and raising them to be nurturers. Now, it's very rare that you will have a mom that can do both. But at the end of the day, these young boys need to be around some men that are willing to talk to them, willing to show them. Because I know a lot of people, they call me OGs, and they say that a lot of the OGs they don't understand us. Well, you might not understand the OG, so why don't you humble yourself and let's meet each other halfway so that we all can understand each other. You
Exactly.
understand? It doesn't have to be a right way or a wrong way. It's just, how can we come together to do an understanding to protect ourselves, but not only that, protect our women. They don't
Yeah.
feel protected anymore. This is why they are feeling so strongly and acting so manly, because of the fact they feel they have to, because they feel they don't have anybody out here that's going to look out for them.
And you know, it's something funny you just said when you talked about the fact that they don't us not understanding them, they're not understanding us, and coming to that place of understanding. What I found, man, is dealing with a lot of young people, and it's funny because you could probably attest to it. I'm sure Corey can as well. At a certain age, you think older people don't really know much. And there's a joke. There's a joke I remember. This, this kid. He's about 16, and he's talking about thinking about how much his dad doesn't know. And then when he turns 21, it's like it's amazing how much his dad learned in 5 years. And it's like your dad ain't learned nothing in 5 years. You finally figured out that your daddy knew something, and that's what happens when we grow. And that's the thing. As young people, man, they've got to recognize there's benefit in wisdom. I always tell them this way: wisdom is knowledge you didn't have to pay for. Because knowledge, when you got to go out here and get it the hard way, when you got to go through it and experience it to learn from the situation, you got to pay for that. It's going to cost you something, whether it's time, whether it's pain, whether it's money, it's going to cost you something to learn from situations. But wisdom is free. I'm willing to give you what I paid for. And that's the thing where, like you said, this mentorship and these kinds of things come into play for people. And one of the things I think a lot of times, as you were saying, single mothers a lot of times don't recognize is there's some things that a man can give your son that you don't, because you're looking at him as a son. You're not looking at him as a man. We're looking at him as the fact we know what he's going to face in life as a man. We know the responsibilities he's going to have. We know the challenges he's going to have. And so we're trying to equip him so that he can be in this position that he has to, that he's going to have to take for his family. I always tell him this way: you need to raise your son like one day he's going to show up at my house and want to take one of my daughters home.
Exactly.
And you don't want your son showing up at Pastor Tucker's house asking for one of my daughters, because he's going to get his feelings hurt. So, and then he's going to be back at your house going, "Mama, he mean." Yeah. You don't know mean till he show up at my house and he ain't right. And so that's the thing. So if that's the case, you ought to want to put him in a situation where you know he's going to be successful. So you ought to train him for responsibility. You ought to train him for leadership. And those are the things that I think so many times that young men aren't experiencing. And I guess the society is just not going down that road. Everything in society nowadays is about the effeminization of a man. It's making them less manly, making them less responsible, and it's all because we're the foundation of the family. And if you can weaken the foundation, you can break the family.
But I want to say this too. A lot of brothers are locked up because of an emotional decision.
Wow.
An emotional decision that they made, that split second, that caused them to be locked up. When you're a man, you think about things. You think about the variables. You think about what's the possibilities and what's the nots. But when you are emotional and you've only been raised and you've only seen emotional behavior, that's how you're going to act. And most of the men that are locked up or being locked up is because of an emotional decision that they made.
Yep.
Man, and now they sit in there for 10, 20 years. Listen, you can be hardcore all you want until that judge start putting that sentencing on you, and all your friends that you thought was cool with you are not at the courthouse, and you turn around and all you see is mama and grandma back there crying because now you upset and you let them down because of an emotional decision, because of lack of thinking, because you want to be hard, you want to prove something, you want to show something. Well, now you got 10, 15, 20, 30 years to think about everything that you wanted to show. Often an emotional decision. And this is where it comes when an older mentor or not even an older, someone who has their mind right, someone who has it together, they'd be like, yo, is it really worth it? I've had so many OGs when I was growing up. And it's like, sometimes I haven't. I've seen behind the jail cell. So this is why I'm speaking. A lot of these guys have been in there from an emotional decision.
And it's so funny that when you said that even just now, talking about that, these are and I really don't, please ladies, if you listen, don't take this the wrong way, but we understand that men and women are made different. We operate, on a logistical level. You guys operate on a more emotional level. And it's because of a lack of the presence of men a lot of times in the lives of these young men when they're developing, is that they're operating in these more emotional, from these more emotional bases. And one of the things that you find from women a lot is that need for validation. And if you look at this, like I said, this effeminization of men in society now, this whole thing of if somebody's not telling you, patting you on the head, if somebody's not telling you how great you are, if somebody's not doing that for you, if somebody's not telling you you the man, you're doing something to be validated. You're starting to seek these things, and these are feminine characteristics. Looking for this valid, and that's what I'm saying. Even the social media is tending to take us down that road to that point of, because this is one thing from and you can attest to this, Cass, because I know you and I are the same era. Corey's a little bit younger than us. Growing up, you didn't care what nobody said about you.
Man,
we grew up. If
all day.
If you grew up caring what somebody said about you, dude, we would not have made it. Because Cass was joning you from the time you was born. I'm like, you come to school, if your family didn't have enough money to get you the right sneakers or the right clothes, they was clowning you, player. And so it was like,
you know who your first bully was?
Yeah, your family, your family. Your head, your ears, they was clowning your physical features from day one. And then as soon as you went to school, they was clowning your economic situation. If you ain't had the right shoes on, whatever.
Exactly.
And so it's like, bruh. So
meanwhile, y'all family in the same economic situation.
Exactly. So you not look and what you did, you learned how to stand up for yourself. And you didn't expect nobody to pat you up and say, "Oh, it's okay, baby." I never forget. I tell people this. I used to tell my kids this all the time. My daughters now, and these are daughters. I used to tell them all the time when they were young. Something my mama taught me when I think I was probably in kindergarten. I came home one day upset because somebody said something. My mama said, "They talked about Jesus. They gonna talk about you too." And that settled that issue for me, because I couldn't, as a boy, you can't come to mama and talk about they talking about me. Yeah. But in this society now, it's a whole different, it's a whole different thing, and they've become so soft. My mom
used to tell me when I would come home and tell her that somebody was talking about me. My mom would be like, "Boy, shut up and man up."
Yeah,
you better man up. People gonna always talk about you when you're doing good, when you're doing bad.
Yeah.
So man up. I'm gonna talk about you if you're doing bad.
Exactly.
Your face.
Exactly. And that was the thing, and it's so funny because when my daughter was doing the fashion, when she started doing the bow tie and stuff, she used to sit I used to have her at the table crying, because I remember when she made her first bow tie, came and brought it to me. I'm like, "What's this?" "Oh, no, go back and start over." Because she was so proud of the fact that she got it. I'm like, "You ain't taking this nowhere." Because I'm like, and my wife be like, "Oh, come on." I'm like, I said, because I would rather make her cry than allow somebody else outside to make her cry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because people will make you remember your worst for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
find you.
And that's the thing. And y'all, I pray y'all catching these gems we throwing at y'all. My daughter was 13 years old when Cass met her. And Cass has, like I said, designed for some of the greatest people in the world. And she brought her bow tie that she made as a 13-year-old. And he said they were better than anything he had ever seen anybody else make. And he was willing to sell them himself.
They were. That's right.
And why is that? Because I was like, no, we're not doing that. But this is the standard. This is the standard that we've got to start changing, because we keep talking about. But that right
there is the very problem. I think sometimes the first time, a lot of people, the the first time that you hear the word no or this is not good enough shouldn't be as an adult.
Yes.
And I think that's one of
It
the
should
first
not.
issues. That should start at home. You shouldn't always think you're going to get the yes or think that this is good enough. The standard should always be there. There's safety in the standard in anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the crazy thing is the fact that people still don't understand that concept that there's something that we need to be doing different. We need to handle that. We need to handle that. We need to make sure that we're putting some, as over you said, some steel in the backbone of our kids,
Yeah.
especially our
But
young
the
men.
problem is too, they have too much access to things that they're not prepared for. They're not prepared for the amount of access that they have access to at this day and age. My son was 2 years old and knew how to work my iPhone. Now he's 10 and he's telling me troubleshooting things about my iPhone. You know, everybody, and we living in a world where everyone is okay with putting out false narrative. It's not about the truth. It's about who can put it out first.
Mm-hmm.
They're not worrying about who they hurt when they find out that even the news media does it. Who's going to put it out first? And then when they find out that they hurt someone, instead of going back and trying to help them, they was like, oh, it was our fault. We got misinformed. But now your misinformed is still hurting that person who is suffering
Yeah.
from the information that you have put out there. Are they
Right.
are they strong enough or capable enough to handle that type of backlash?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to social media are lies. Okay? Let's just cut the corner. Social media, everyone is only posting what they do great. Ain't nobody posting getting set out. No one is getting posted losing a job. Nobody's out here posting getting their car repossessed or anything like that. Everyone is posting their triumph. And
Yeah.
then with these relationships, everyone wants to travel. I'm like, man, we can't be in a recession because I see way too many people out here traveling out here in the world. So it can't be a recession. I just feel like people's priorities are not right. They would rather show you that they're doing well or make you believe that they're doing well than to see how they really live.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
come from social media, the pressure of media, social of trying to be successful and things of that nature. And we got to learn how to love each other. We got to learn how to support each other, and we gotta be ourselves and be okay with it. But that starts at home. That starts as preparation at home,
It
and
starts at
then
home.
as you move forward in life, understanding.
Right. What I was going to add to that is I think that even in the situation with young men that took out their phones and started filming, because we could talk about men not stepping up and doing the things they need to do, and a lot of that comes from not having a man to teach them those things, not having that mentor. But I think in that very moment, I think a seed was sown. I think that I hope a seed was sown into those individuals to that hopefully they had that come to Jesus meeting and say, you know what, I should have operated a little differently as a man in that particular situation, and then from there,
Well,
and
I
Pastor
had to
Tucker,
catch myself.
Mhm.
I had to catch myself not to cut you off. I really had to catch
No, you're good.
myself because at the end of it, I was ready to like really throw hands with them, but then I had to catch myself and I'm like, yo, this is not the way. Let's talk to them.
Mhm.
And I was just like, look, man, I don't know where you come from, but in the era that I come from, this is totally unacceptable, bro. Like, you gotta really put yourself in a situation to whereas, what if that, even if you don't have a girlfriend or nobody, what was that if that was your mother
Right.
and that man was beating her up like that? The first thing you're gonna do in your mind is, we're gonna go look for him. No,
Right.
you would be happy that someone like me and
Mm-hmm.
the other guys and the women that came out here
Stop it. Yeah.
stepped up to help her to make sure that she was okay. But you
Yeah.
guys thought it was important, more important to pull out your phone because I knew what you were going to do. You were going to post it. So then now you would have humiliated this woman. She has a child, all for likes.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Our
All for
priorities is
life.
messed up.
Yeah.
All for likes.
Absolutely.
And I think
And it's unfortunate because then we got these little media companies that will pay them money to get that type of footage.
Yeah.
TMZ, all of them, they pay money for people to give them type of footage.
And that's the sad thing. And I say this all the time. People laugh at me. You know, it's a joke on one of the other shows we do. They always say, Pastor Chuck don't know nothing unless you tell him. Because I very rarely watch the news. I very rarely get on social media. Like I said, because I don't like contributing to foolishness. You know, the fact that, you know, people show me some videos and I'm like, I ain't watching that. Because it's like, I don't want somebody to get one extra view, one extra click, one extra like from something that is totally ignorant. Like, I remember it was a video I saw somebody sent me with this young lady. She's sitting in the car with this kid, and the kid couldn't be no more than 10. Less than 10, probably 8, 9 years old. And he's talking about going to camp. And she asking him why he don't want to go to camp. He's like, don't make me tell you. And she's like, why you don't want to go to camp? I don't want to say it. And she said, go ahead and say it. So she's pushing him. And he said, but I can't say it. She said, because it's got a bad word. She said, you're not going to get in trouble. Go ahead. So he starts cursing. And she's sitting there laughing and recording it and posting this on social media. I'm like, so you think that's funny now? But 3-4 years from now, when he cursing you out, then you're going to want to call the pastor. Then you're going to be calling the uncles. You're going to be calling everybody because you can't do nothing with him because he's cussing you out.
Right.
But see, that's something that you're cultivating. Mm-hmm. And why? Because you think you're gonna make some money because you think you're gonna get internet fame. And that's the sad thing. People have gotten to the point where we're trying to do everything for money. Because that's what all of this comes down to. When we start talking about these likes and all this kind of stuff, some of it is this low self-esteem living that we have, and we need to be validated. But the other thing is, you hear this stuff about, well, yeah, you know, somebody become a TikTok millionaire, somebody become a YouTube millionaire overnight, and this and that. So we want these get rich quick schemes, and don't realize all money ain't good money. If you got to make your money out here like that.
But then here's the crazy thing, Pastor. When they do go viral, they do become popular, they do start making the money, they're not prepared to keep it.
No. They go out there and take it all to the mall and give it away.
None of that. So then they end up going broke, or they end up over-drugging, or they end up killing themselves or committing suicide because they're not prepared for it.
Not prepared for it, yeah.
They're not prepared for it. When you get to a certain level and so much attention, everybody's not prepared for that.
No.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm. You know, I used to tell my kids all the time, I'm like, y'all don't understand. I said, I want to be rich. I don't want to be famous.
Yeah, it's a difference. It's a difference.
I said, I can handle the money. I know what to do with that. I said, but
I had a couple of dudes come to me. We were outside talking, and they like, Cass, we look up to you. And I'm like, don't look up to me. Be inspired by me and do better than me, because if you look up to me, that means you're putting too much of yourself on how I move. And I'm human. I make mistakes too. And I don't want my mistakes to affect you of being great because you're looking up to me and thinking I'm this perfect person. I'm not perfect at all, not one bit. But just be inspired and learn from the good and the bad that I've made in my life, and do better than me.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly it. But you know, and something you said earlier, man. People got to be mindful of the fact that you don't want your talent or any situation to put you in a position that you don't have the character to remain in.
That's right. And it happens a lot.
And you see it, like you said, you see it a lot because we're running after stuff that God never intended for us to have. God never said you were ready for.
Absolutely.
And this is the stuff that we're talking about, because you've compromised all of the values, because you know good and well those young men, nobody taught them that's how you're supposed to operate. That's how you're supposed to live. Ain't nobody teach you that. Mm-hmm. You know better than that. Nobody actually
but
told
they
you
so
that.
they so stuck on these phones, man. You know, like I heard someone say this to me and it was so profound. A cell phone is just like being locked up in jail, except it's just not the four walls. It's a
Wow.
cell
Wow.
phone. You
Wow.
understand? And then not only that, there's only two people in the world that call us users: drug dealers and cell phone providers.
Wow.
Wow.
Is
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? We're
is that one
users.
Yeah.
tight?
We're addicted to the cell phone. It is a drug.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That right there is dope. I'm telling you, man, this is it's crazy. It's crazy for us to even think like that, man. To not understand how manipulative a lot of this stuff is. Like you said, whether it's these algorithms on social media, whether it's like you said the whole business of putting all of this stuff on cell phones and everything that keeps you captivated, the whole scrolling concept with the dopamine hits that you get and all that kind of stuff, that stuff to keep you becoming a slave to this thing. And
And you
you're
become a
right.
slave.
It affects the mentality and how we operate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like television. I love watching movies, documentaries. I don't watch the news like that unless it's something I need to know, and you don't even know if that's true or not anymore.
Exactly.
Because the news only puts out 5% of the truth. 90% of it
And
is
it's always
entertainment.
bad. Ain't nothing
It's
good on it.
always bad.
That's why I'm like, that's
It's
why I tell
always
them, I'm
bad.
like, what I'm gonna watch for? Ain't nothing good on there.
Yeah.
That's right. Nothing good. So we
Nothing.
gotta
And
we got
it's
really.
doing nothing but programming you. A lot of older cats used
But
to call it,
you know what though? Just
my dad even now, he'd be like, hey, I'm watching a program on TV. It's
I
programming you to
mean,
think a certain
it's
way.
all that's doing is
Yeah.
programming. They
It's
telling their
programming.
vision. It's television. They telling their vision, not
Yep.
ours.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and all of this stuff is adding up to the fact that we're becoming weaker and weaker as a people. When you look at the fact that TikTok and all these things, TikTok is a program that was invented in China, and they regulate it. And you look at the fact somebody posted a meme or something, and showed all of the American kids doing TikTok dances and making TikTok videos, but then you look at all the Chinese kids, 7, 8, 10 years old, they stripping guns. They stripping and putting. They in the classroom.
But not only that, Pastor. The Asians, the creators of TikTok, and the Asian folks don't even let their kids even get on TikTok doing the things that the United States do. They're
Yeah,
all learning for tools on
exactly.
TikTok. They can't even get access to adults' TikToks until after they turn a teenager.
And that's exactly it. And that's what I'm saying. And we don't understand that that's weakening us as a nation, as a people. That we don't see that we're the fact that so much of the stuff we do here. I mean, the stuff we eat. I mean, it's just the stuff, the commercials we watch. I mean, so much of this stuff is outlawed in other countries, and we eat it, and then we looking at the byproduct in our culture, and it's like, and you don't see nothing wrong with this.
But it's not about helping us. We live in a communist country to where it's all about money and power.
And that's exactly
and
it.
as long as they keep creating chaos, as long as they're creating sickness, as long as they're creating all of these things that is going to keep us at a bay, they're going to continue to do it. If you ever travel out of the country, they don't even allow the stuff that goes on in the United States at all. I mean, I think I just read something not too long ago. The Korean prime minister was like, anyone who tries to commit suicide or something, it was something I read like it's against the law to commit suicide.
North
In
Korea, I think
Korea.
it was. I saw that as well. Yeah.
North Korea, yeah.
Yeah, I
North
saw that.
Korea.
And it's like those are the things that, like I said, when you look at it, it's like, how is it that we don't see where these issues are? And that's, I guess, where when we say enough is enough, we've got to start doing something about it.
Yeah, but we do see the problem is we'll never be paid attention until, one, we come together, we become a community, and become an economic based community. See, the government don't care nothing about how we carry each other because we have no economic power for them to listen. That comes from us building our community, having jobs in our community, they needing us, they needing our vote. I always say, poor people vote, rich people lobby. You understand? And that's just my opinion.
That's deep. That's deep.
I always say that because when you vote, why are we voting and we're still talking about the same conditions that our grandparents were having? You understand? Because we're worrying about the people up top. When they don't care about us, we gotta vote on the right people that's gonna help us, starting in our community, in our ward. Like, oh, you want my vote? This is what we need. This is what we're looking for. We gotta have a representative to be able to go in there and to speak on our behalf that's really gonna help the community, help our families, help our children. I'm in here, I'm going crazy wondering what's gonna happen to my kids.
Yeah.
The day God take me. You understand? So this is how I talk to my children. Like my 10-year-old, his mom is like, you gotta chill. I'm not chilling. He's 10. He's almost 6 feet, a size 11 man's shoe. I'm talking to him, preparing him. I'm a black man in this world. I see it every day. I don't want him to think that everyone. I just had a conversation with him not too long ago. I said, everyone do not like you. So stop getting mad when someone says something bad to you. Everyone is not going to like you, and you have to be okay with that.
Wow.
I told him some days I don't like you.
Yeah.
The truth.
You understand? Some days you get on my nerve, but guess what?
Corey, don't tell Cam that yet. Don't tell Cam that yet. Look, Cam might tell you I don't like you too. Cam might tell you I don't like you too.
It'd be days. I know you don't like this.
My kids and I, we've had a bump head moment that things didn't work out. We didn't see each other eye to eye. But at the end of the day, they know that my dad loves you. When it all comes down to it, he gonna be there.
Ain't nobody gonna ride harder for you.
All said and done, and anything happens, my father, I could call him and he could be anywhere in the country and he gonna show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
like
what it's about.
My oldest son called today. And he was like, Dad, I've been calling you all day yesterday because I needed your help. I said, I apologize, I was on the plane. But what's going on? See what I'm saying? They no matter how, and my oldest son is 40. But they need you because you set a
Your oldest son is how old?
Oh, my oldest son is 40, brother. Yeah, think about it. It's okay.
Black don't crack. Black don't crack.
It's all right.
Ahead, continue.
But my reason for saying that is no matter how old your kids are, if you set a standard that they know that they can rely on you and they're going to get proper information from you, no matter how old they are, they're always going to reach out. They're always going to want that information. And that's my kids.
That's it. That's called influence. And that's what we've got to focus on. And I think that's a good place to land this plane, man. We've got to get to the point where we as men are utilizing the influence that we have in the lives of young men, because stuff like what Brother Cass was talking about in this video is stuff that we cannot afford to see in our communities. We cannot see young men living like this. And when we see young men that have these kind of standards, this kind of focus, this kind of bit that they're more focused, like you said, on likes and social media than they are substance, we've got to start using our influence to say, hey man, there's more to life than this. This is not that important. You got to put your mind where it needs to be, because there's some things that have to shift in our community, and you're part of that change. And we've got to start taking them and leading them up, because some of us, like I said, we're becoming the older guys in the neighborhood now. And
that's right.
And they're going to be the ones left up. And so if not, what's going to happen to our community? What's going to happen to our world? Because the Bible says if the righteous be destroyed, it says if the foundations be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? And so that's the problem. If the very foundations of society are destroyed, there's no chance. So without the men, there is no chance. And so we got to get that straight.
We definitely do, man.
Well, Brother Kas, man, this has been a pleasure to have you in the man cave, man. You done blessed the fellas today, man. I'm so excited, man.
Too, man. I'm happy to be a part of this. I've known you for a long time, Pastor, and I appreciate your random calls. I appreciate your text messages and all of that. Because one thing I will say, if your listeners don't know, if the pastor rocks with you, he gonna rock with you consistently. I don't have to talk to him every day or see him every day, but I always get a random phone call or a text or, hey, I'm in town, come have dinner with us and the family and the whole nine. And for me, you're someone that I respect, and I thank you for pouring in my life at the time when I was going through rough times, and you praying for me and lifting me up, because you definitely did that for me. So I can only imagine what you've done with Brother Corey, and you just watched him grow from a teenager to a grown man that's now a husband and a father. So that says a lot about your character. So I have this thing is where I like to give flowers while my men and women are here. I don't want to wait till you leave and tell you how great you are. So I want to, on your show, on your platform, to tell you to thank you for being a huge influence in my life as a man of God, but just as a human that just loved on me enough to saw that I needed it at that time and always will need it. And I appreciate you and love you for that.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you, man, just for being who you are, man, for always being genuine, man. Like I said, and that's the thing. So many people don't recognize in this time, the seasons that we're in, no matter what level you're on, no matter who you are, you just need to always be who God called you to be, and never let that change you. And if we can always do that, we can always help somebody else become great at whatever level they are. You know, because Kaya, she's no longer doing fashion; she's in architecture now. But
right,
it's those, but the same principles that you taught her then, exactly. Those same principles you taught her, like you said, you know, how to do things in excellence, how to grind, how to be committed to your craft. She carries all that in everything she does, you know, and she never forgets those things. And those are the things, like I said, that you know, you've been pushing her toward all of that, and so those things mean a lot, man. So we definitely appreciate those things, man. What you meant to the family, you know, you always family with us, man. But we blessed to have you here on the Man Cave tonight.
Thank you. If I could leave your listeners with this, I would tell them this: God blesses you, but so does the devil. Pick the right side.
Say that. There's more than
Pick
one
the right
source.
side.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Well, man, we bless the Lord, man. We're so excited, man. So glad you guys tuned in tonight to the Man Cave. And so we're going to tune out tonight. I'm Pastor Tuck. That's Brother Kenny Kas Flannagan and Brother Corey. And so we want you to stay tuned for our announcement. God bless you. We love you. And see you again on next time. At my church, we help people get better by teaching them how the word works. And we want to make sure there is no excuse not to get the word. It's our goal to make all of our ministries accessible on every smartphone, tablet, PC, and television connected to the internet. So whether you're a man who needs some wisdom, a woman who needs some encouragement, or a couple who needs guidance, the My Church channel has just what you need. Simply search for the My Church channel on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV, or visit mychurchchannel.org. You can also download the My Church on the Go app from Apple or Google Play App Store. Constantly on the move? Check out the Word at My Church podcast on your favorite podcast platform. or simply download the Word at My Church skill on your Alexa-enabled device. But whatever you do, make sure to stay connected. See you soon.